I first met Coby in the summer of 2015 at Stonewall, New York City. We were both billed on a charity concert. I was really looking forward to meeting him. I sat down with Coby to chat about how we met. What I remember about that night and what stands out to me is I think maybe we were Facebook friends or whatnot beforehand, because maybe when we got the mutual billing on that...
we looked each other up.
Yeah, and I
and I was so impressed with your music.
Likewise,
but and your hair.
What was what I wasn't expecting, I should say, was that night for you to come up to me and to be so warm and so kind and so encouraging, because maybe I just wasn't used to feeling that in those sort of settings.
Wow.
And having other artists be warm and encouraging and collaborative, because a lot of times it's sort of an insular path, right? Like, we get up there, we do our thing, and then we walk away, and everyone's got their own stuff they're going through. So people are not always talking and interacting and encouraging each other.
It's so interesting because I love great talent. You know, going to the School of the Arts, you're always encouraging your friends. You're always happy for somebody when they shine, when everybody has their moment. And I think it's so important to support each other. If I think you're amazing, I will go up there and tell you. I have no qualms about it. I think it's so important to encourage people. There's not enough of that. I don't think there's not. Everyone's so competitive and so afraid that we end up hurting each other instead of encouraging each other and supporting each other, which is so important this day and age, I think.
100%. And, I was really very encouraged that night by that. And I think it was actually even before I went on stage, you said something kind to me. And that's what we all want as an artist, because when you're feeling vulnerable or you're feeling overwhelmed with that you're going to have to get up there and share something, you want to feel safe and comfortable in that, like you're being well received. So that was really
well,
awesome.
I feel really happy that you have that memory. It really makes me feel good.
That was the start of it for us, and we kept in touch after that night.
Yes,
and I've been a fan of your vocal talent for years.
Vice versa.
We've mentioned the powerhouse soul vocals are stunning, and your emotional connection with the music really resonates with me in a way that when I look to the singers that I love, you're right up in there with the tops.
Oh, I'm so honored. Thank you so much.
I'm honored as well for the fact that you also decided that you'd wanted to collaborate with me, and that's one of the reasons we're here today.
Because I love your voice.
And so much so that a couple years after that performance, I asked you if you wanted to write a song together, and you came down to the studio, and I played you a couple things from the studio, the new album that I was working on, including this track, Become Love. And the intention wasn't originally for you to be on that track, but you were so moved by it.
I was.
That you said, this is the one, let's do it. And
and we did it right then and there.
Right then and there, it happened that day. What was it about that track for you?
Well, I think the lyrics are beautiful. I love the hook. And it resonates with me because it reminds me of songs that I loved growing up. It's kind of like a prayer-ish, it has a little bit of a Spanish sound to it. I just really loved it. I love the style of it. And I love the message, I think messages are so important these days. And the older I get, the more sentimental I get, and I think music should really leave a mark, and I think the song just really does that. It's a gorgeous song. I'm proud to sing on it with you. I really am.
I'm grateful for your contributions to it, and I think it's also an interesting follow-through from that moment when we first met, where you were so loving and encouraging, to then be on a song together where we're sharing that same sentiment, to become love, to lift people up and to encourage people and to inspire people. And of course there are those refrains in it that are a little bit more romantic or a little bit more spiritual, but the message is still like, Jesus' message of love.
Yeah.
So, you don't have to be a Christian necessarily to understand treating people well.
Absolutely.
And
I think that's really taught in every religion, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, speaking of religion, your song Vogue Is My Religion.
Good segue. Right? You're so good at this, Oprah, too.
Segues. Where did this song originate from?
I started writing it in 2015. There was a trans woman murdered in my neighborhood. And I was just really affected by it. First of all, that's my neighborhood. And it was just really vicious and a horrible attack. And I just was sitting in bed thinking about it, really traumatized by it. I carry the weight of the world on my shoulders sometimes. It's just the way that I am. I'm very sensitive about what's going on in the world. And I just started writing these lyrics, color, creed, and sexuality, because everyone says always color creed, but, you know, sexuality is up there. You know, people are judged on their sexuality and murdered because of their sexuality. And I just started writing those lyrics, and it just evolved from that, really.
Color, creed, and sexuality. We pray for peace and reciprocity. Well, if we were made in his image, then they are one of us. In brotherhood we trust, 'cause it's so faithful. God loves all his children. They come in every size. Oh, we love our children if we don't stop to always criticize. Vogue is my religion, it brings them to the front. Vogue is my religion, who could ask for anything more? Vogue is my religion, it brings them to the front. Vogue is my religion, who could ask for anything more?
Vogue is My Religion is available everywhere, on every platform. I just had some new mixes done by Fumi Kondo, who does a lot of work for Junior Vasquez. I was honored enough for him to say yes to do these mixes, because he's a busy man. I mean, he's so brilliant. He's all the way in Japan, and he turned out a mix for me in like 2 days. And
Wonderful.
I'm waiting for a mix for 5 years from another guy. So this guy, you know, Fumi's really on top of his shit, and he's just phenomenal and just a beautiful person. We've actually reconnected a lot over the internet, and he's done mixes for me for other songs, and I just feel like I have a great collaborator and a great friend in him.
And you love me all night long. I'm there. I love, our love's a new religion sent from heaven way above. Love become a mountain and a mountain become love. Love become a mountain and a mountain become love. Love become a mountain and a mountain become love. Love become a mountain and a mountain become love. Love become a mountain and a mountain become love.
Tell the audience a little bit more about yourself for those who might not know your fantastic work as a soul singer in New York City. Where did you grow up?
So I grew up in Washington, D.C., and I went to high school of the performing arts, Duke Ellington School of the Arts, where I studied theater and music. And I moved to New York in the early 90s, 93, and it's been a hell of a ride.
Wow, 93 in New York.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. It's a great time.
What was that like for you first arriving in New York in 93?
It was really phenomenal for me because you would walk down the street and you would see Lee Bowery and Lady Kier from Delight on St. Mark's. And I feel like I was at the end of a really great era in New York, you know, with the Club Kids and, you know, Boy Bar and all those amazing places that you only dream about now.
Were you always inspired by these artists and by soul artists, or did that come as you started studying music more and as you moved to New York?
My taste in music always evolves. I started out early listening to a lot of Streisand and Shirley Bassey and Frank Sinatra and Ella Fitzgerald because my mother had 8-track tapes and I was really immersed in her collection. She had great taste in music. And then when I went to Duke Ellington School of the Performing Arts, I learned a lot about gospel and even more jazz. And the first show I ever saw when I was 6 years old was this show called Hippie Tombi, and it's all African music. So my first concert was, a concert of African dancers. They were naked, and it was just phenomenal. I even have the soundtrack. It's really great. So my taste in music really varies. I love music.
So the diversity really speaks to a lot of what you perform, and what I came to know you as through the community and through social media, and a lot of what I saw of people posting of you before I knew you was your amazing vocals.
Thank you.
Powerhouse soul vocals. And I think, and we've spoken about this, but it must be somewhat about studying those greats that you were able to channel your passion for singing like that. Because, you know, it's more than just singing. It's really a connection, a spiritual connection, an emotional connection with the music.
Yeah, I think the people that inspire you, you learn from them and you try to emulate them, and then you come up with your own voice, and hopefully people identify you as your own voice. Because, you know, there's so many voices out there, but it's great when people say, you know, I listened to a song today and I knew it was a Coby Koehl song.
Yeah.
You've been acting different, I've been told. Soothe me, I want some sugar in my bowl. I want some steam on my clothes. Maybe I can fix things up so they'll go, yeah. What's the matter, baby? Come on, save my soul. I want some sugar in my bowl. I ain't fooling them. I want some sugar in my bowl.
Tell me a little bit more about how you started performing in New York City and what that experience was like.
So when I first moved to New York, I sang in a lot of downtown places. I sang at the Boy Bar, which was really great. They had an open mic there. Lady Bunny was the hostess at the Crowbar on 10th Street. Remember the Crowbar on 10th Street?
Yeah.
I'm a little older than you. It was owned by the same people that opened Barracuda later on because Crowbar was so successful. Lena was the DJ, and Gant Johnson, and Chip Duckett, and Austin Downey. You know, all these legendary New Yorkers who we love. Candace Kane was performing there. Mona Foot did Star Search, the original place. So it was a really great place. And I think my first performance in New York was there. And believe it or not, I did this cover of God Bless a Child by Billie Holiday, but I did it over an R&B track, and there were people there from Paris. And they loved it so much that they gave me money to record the demo.
My goodness.
Yeah.
That's like that
And
New
I
York
have it.
Dream Story. That's
It
fantastic.
was amazing, yeah. They paid for the demo, which was phenomenal.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
We'll play a little bit of that for the audience
Oh,
now.
okay.
Around your door. Rich relations give a crust of bread and such. You can help yourself, but don't you take too much. Your mama may have and your papa too, but God bless the child that's got his own. God bless the child. Oh, God bless the child. God bless the child that's got his own. God bless the child. Oh, God bless the child. God bless the child that's got his own.